tech guy. What's
Oh
that?
boy. Oh no, I just made sure I hit the record button so we don't miss out on anything.
Okay.
Well, here I am, Darrel
There you
Yasutake.
there.
And where in California are you these days, Darrell?
I'm in Clayton, California, Northern California.
Okay. How
Uh,
far north of, say, San Francisco?
yeah, we're actually east of San Francisco. I'm in the East Bay. We're we abut against Walnut Creek and Concord.
Okay.
We just a little further east into the foothills.
Yeah. Back in the 70s after graduation, I drove through Walnut Creek.
Yep.
I was looking for somebody I knew that lived there and we didn't hook up, so I didn't stay.
Everybody seemed to know Walnut Creek from that's where the Long's Drugs headquarters used to be.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a lot of people remember Walnut Creek because of Long's Drugs, but they're I guess there's still Longs in Hawaii.
I'm not sure. I knew they were closing them up or, reducing,
Yeah, they
or
they they all
they
became
changed names or
CVS.
something.
CVS.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
All right. So let's get a starting point here. What grade did you start Kamehameha?
ninth grade,
Ninth grade.
freshman year. Actually, it's
Okay.
funny because I've been kind of watching a bunch of your sessions, and I didn't realize most of the people said that started in ninth grade. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
there was quite a few.
Uh-huh.
And having started in seventh grade myself, I didn't realize the number was that big.
Yeah, I didn't realize. I thought so, uh Kilauea, I thought he was like from elementary school, but no, he started ninth grade too. It's like, wow. Tanya too. I thought she was even before.
Yeah, but strange,
Amazing.
but that's part of the what I want to achieve with these two is to kind of just
Yeah,
inform,
right,
share
right.
what happened. So where were you before ninth grade then?
Ninth grade, I came from Washington Intermediate,
Okay.
and then I went to elementary. I was at Kahumanu,
So you like through high school you were living where on Oahu?
Kaka'ako.
Oh, okay.
I grew up on Sheridan Street. It's just kind of Eva Keamoku.
When was the last time you were home?
Oh, my mom passed away in 2016, and that was the last time I was home. It's
I
been a while.
haven't seen it, but I hear Kakaako you would probably not recognize at all.
No, the home I grew up in, my mom was actually born in it. It was my grandmother's home, so I kind of grew up in that home. And when we went back in 2016, the home was gone, and there was some kind of a Mercedes, I think, repair shop. Yeah,
Oh
it's
boy.
real different,
But very developed.
very
I
developed.
I think if I understand correctly, Mike Medeiros is not too far from there. So you started there, okay, ninth grade. We make it through. We graduate. What was your next stop?
UH,
Okay, 4 years.
5 years. I don't know how I made it through. I surfed and I did a lot of night clubbing.
Okay.
Took me 5 years.
Well, just should have just claimed that as your major.
Yeah, well, I started in engineering, ended up in business.
Okay. And so you graduated from there, stayed in Hawaii for a while, or
Yeah, I graduated in 80 and I worked for my dad who has his own insurance adjusting company for a couple years. That's during the time I was applying to law school. In fact, I think that was the first year after we graduated was the first year that UH Law School opened up, and it was so hard to get in. I think they were only accepting like 75 students.
Wow.
Yeah,
Now,
and so
was
I didn't
law
get in.
school a goal for you early on?
My dad wanted me to, kind of following in the insurance industry.
Oh, okay. So then law school was where? In Hawaii?
Whittier College.
Whittier. Okay.
Which, but the law school was in LA, was near the La Brea Tar Pits in LA. The actual school was in Whittier. The only time I saw the college was at graduation.
Wow, because the law school was a separate campus.
Yeah, yeah.
Huh. Wow.
Yeah, so I graduated in 75 we graduated. I graduated from UH at 80 and law school in 85. So every 5 years.
Wow. Okay. Now, during law school, were you a full-time student?
Yeah, full-time
Okay.
student. Lived in
So
Santa Monica.
is that close to the law school campus
No,
or?
wasn't. I didn't have a car, so I used to bus on Wilshire Boulevard from Santa Monica to uh, was that the area was called Hancock Park, and so I took about 45 minutes.
Wow. But let me ask you this. I would guess with your love of it, you maintained surfing while you were going to law school?
No, no, I didn't surf when I was in California. Yeah, there's great white sharks out there. You can't see the bottom. No,
That
I didn't surf.
that would be a deterrent, I think.
Right. I picked up surfing again after I went back to Hawaii.
Okay, so law school took you to 85,
Right.
and then you went back home?
Yeah, I went back home, took the Hawaii bar. While I was looking for a job, I worked for my dad for a little while. Then I got a job um, in a law firm. So I worked for a couple years in Hawaii as a lawyer. Passed the bar first time there.
Yeah. Now, did you specialize specific type of law or
Well, when I was in Hawaii, I wanted to try and get into insurance, something related to insurance. But I ended up my first job I was working for a firm that did business stuff. So I was doing loan workouts and commercial lease documentation, which I hated.
yeah, it sounds like you don't wake up in the morning going, yeah.
Yeah, no, he's like blurry-eyed. I worked there for only about 6 months, and then I went to work for I clerked during one of the summers for a plaintiff's firm called everybody knows it because they used to advertise a lot, Mackenzie Trucker and Fritz.
Okay.
Um, I went to work for them. So I worked there for these to about 80, 88. Met my wife at the time, and she was in Hawaii on an externship. She's from Walnut Creek and moved here in 80, 88, March 80, February 88, March 88.
Okay. Were you guys already married when you moved?
No, I moved
Okay.
here and we got married in 89.
Okay. Your plan in moving back was more opportunity or
No, I was planning to live there, find a job and work there and you know, but plans change.
yeah, life has a way of doing that to us.
Yeah.
Now, law school, I don't know much about it, but law school basically prepares you for the bar, or while you're going through law school, can you say, I want to study stuff that will help me in insurance and that kind of thing?
No, law school is pretty much general. I mean, it's kind of like liberal arts, but law. You have to, they require you to take certain courses, and then you take electives, but um, I don't remember there being an insurance elective. It was just, I mean, I guess there's certain classes you can take that's kind of around what your field is. Most people don't really know. They just want to become a lawyer. And I
And
went to
then
school. Go ahead.
as you get work experience, you can maybe possibly guide yourself toward the field that you think you'd enjoy working in.
Right. I mean, it's so hard and competitive, the legal field, that when you come out of law school, you have this idea what you want to do, or maybe what you want to do, and that changes because you're applying for all kinds of jobs, and you're not getting the jobs you want, and all of a sudden you get a job that kind of takes you in a different direction. But as I ended up, I'm still doing insurance stuff.
Are you then like kind of semi-retired, or are you still working full time, or
No, I'm not working full time. In fact, I just closed my office on February 28th. Moved my office to home, and I contracted with an attorney um, to take on whatever cases I had left. And she's handling all the cases, and I just basically deal with the client and billing, stuff like that. So I work 1 or 2 hours a day.
leave you enough time for golf, huh?
Plenty of time. I play 4 or 5 times a week.
Wow. Did you golf in high school?
No, I started about, geez, my first or second year in college, I think. My dad told you had this in the business, and he told me that he wanted me to start playing golf for, business purposes, client development, client taking them out to golf and whatnot. But I remember telling my dad, Dad, that's an old man sport. I don't want to play. I play baseball and football. I don't want to play golf.
Yeah,
But yeah, I ended up starting and then started loving it.
that's awesome. Do you keep current contact with any classmate?
With classmates?
Yeah.
No, I haven't been in contact with anybody.
As I've talked to others in these sessions, they talk about high school bonds and the ones that played athletic. Like when I was talking to Rhonda, she said, some of the friendships she made in high school playing basketball or volleyball, like she did, to this day are still really pretty strong. So I didn't
Mm-hmm.
know if, you kept up any of those after you moved out
No,
into the great big world. So,
no, I don't, as far as I know, there are no classmates in the area here. Um, no, I do keep in contact with a few guys and their families because they're at the golf club with me. But one of the guys went to Puno. In fact, I'm playing with him tomorrow. Um, so there were like four of us that from Hawaii that we kind of play golf together.
all right.
But other than that, no, I haven't been in touch with classmates. The only reunion I went to was, I think, the 10th. Um,
I
yeah, the
remember
10th
pictures.
reunion.
Wasn't that in Vegas?
The 10th? No, I was back in Hawaii.
Oh, okay.
I remember going to the tea house. That's so darn long ago now. 10th is, so that's 40 years ago.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was in Hawaii. And then I did go to the one in Vegas, the
That's the one I saw
60
pictures of.
the 60-year birthday. That's the year
Okay.
everybody turned 60. That was the Vegas. I did go to the Vegas trip.
Okay. I couldn't separate whether they were actual reunions or just impromptus along the way or
Well, that was kind of a reunion. There was about 20 something people there. It was nice.
wow.
Nice to see people. I guess glad that I got to see Taylor because Taylor and I used to ride to school together in high school.
Right.
And, yeah, I got
Had
to see some
had he
people.
already started to decline at that point, or he was good to go, or
I started what?
had he already started to decline at the 60th?
Taylor?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
You're talking about Taylor Kaina?
Right?
Yeah, he's got early onset dementia.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
No, no. When I saw him, he was fine.
Okay. Yeah, because I think it's somewhat recent, maybe
Wow.
that I know of the last 3 years, maybe or something. But yeah, I've had some contact with his wife, and then but it was brought up to me by some other classmates who were aware of it. So
I did not know.
yeah,
I haven't kept in contact with him. Um, I'm not a big social media person, but I still they still pop up on my phone, but I don't post anything.
yeah.
And
So
come to think about it, I haven't seen anything. He used to post quite a bit. He hasn't been posting, so
yeah,
sorry to
and
hear that.
I don't know physically or mentally what he can and cannot do any longer, but I know I talked to his wife maybe a year and a half ago, and already at that point, she would have to secure the house from the inside so he didn't wander. And
Oh wow, I did
yeah,
not know that. My goodness.
yeah. So it's one of the things I encounter along the way that makes me more grateful,
Yeah.
because really in high school, I would think ahead to 50, 55, 60, and I already thought that would be like maybe as far as it would go.
I I know what you mean. You get to our age and you start to think, how long more do I have?
Yeah. So it's one of the reasons I'm making set plans to get to this reunion. And then this project thought up has helped me get more familiar. There's quite a few people that have done sessions with me that I didn't really, really know in high school at all.
Mm,
I didn't do a session with him yet, but I was just talking on the phone with Kevin Garcia,
yeah.
and I talked about the challenges and obstacles to us having mingled a lot with more of the class. And I said, it was all social.
Hmm.
I mean, sometimes people would have interest that just really people didn't really support or anything. And now though, I mean, at our age, all those barriers to me are gone. You know, everybody I'm dealing with is brand new and exciting, and I kind of look back and go, gee, I wish maybe I had known them better in high school.
Right. Well, I mean, it's funny because it's amazing how many people that I didn't know. Just saw one was last night. Was it Camuela?
Yeah.
I didn't know who that was.
So you don't remember him from high
I,
school?
I don't remember, but he said his name was Tom. Tom is Tommy.
Yeah.
I don't remember him. Um,
Well, to look at him now, I mean, in high school, he was very thin, black glasses, just a tall, skinny guy. He was probably already 5'9", but like 140 pounds.
Really, I see. I
Yeah.
don't remember him at all. And I was amazed that he had so many relatives that went to Kamehameha. Um, Amazing. I
Yeah.
think I had two cousins that went there, one before, one after.
Yeah. It's yeah. It's really surprising how how they've changed and what they've become, and
Right, right, right,
how everyone remembers high school just a little bit different too, depending
right.
on how you went through and what you did while you were there. So now, do you have kids now?
I have three.
Okay.
Older son lives in Santa Cruz, about an hour and a half away from me. He's doctor of physical therapy. He's 30, he'll be 35 this year. My daughter is 32. She lives with my son-in-law in Milwaukee, Oregon, um, just outside of Portland, east of Portland.
Does she work outside the house?
Yes, she does. I call her my tree hugger. She's an environmentalist. That was her major. She went to
Oregon's the place for her.
Yeah, yes, it is. Yeah, she works for a nonprofit that and she's a manager, a four-person now that she they basically contract out, and one of the big clients is the city of Portland, and they basically manage and maintain the foliage and trees and brush around the city. So that's her job, and she does it with other clients too. But the city of Portland's their main client.
Yeah. And not being in that field and knowing nothing about it, I'm surprised because when we took that train trip as a class in 23, we drove through Portland. And I
Hmm.
had spent time there in the 70s. I went to Willamette and then I went to University of Oregon. And the homeless are everywhere where there's greenery. I mean, even
Really?
under the freeway underpasses and just, sometimes you look and you think, how do you even physically get to where they are? They've got because the freeway's got a lot of, no traction. But if
Hmm.
it had a teensy bit of green, there was housing there. It was wild. Nothing at all like I remember, but you know, lots of cities have that same challenge. So,
Right, right.
are there a lot of homeless around where you live?
No, my little community, I think, is I don't know what 12,000 population, very small. Um, a lot of older people. It's kind of just a small, quaint community. I call it my city outside of suburbia, but it's very, very quiet out here. I live right on the golf course.
All
Um,
right.
that's why I moved here because I belong to the club. Um, but yeah, no, it's very quiet. Not many. In fact, I don't remember seeing a homeless person in the city. Um, so the police, they never have nothing else to do, so maybe they chase them out when they see them. I don't know. It's very
It's
quiet here.
yeah.
Um,
It's good though. I mean,
yeah.
you don't have to have any anxiety going grocery shopping or
No, no.
yeah.
No, it's very quiet, and crime rate's very low here. Although we do over the hill, there is a kind of tough city that has a very high crime rate. So sometimes I hear that they kind of come over the hill. And I have one more kid. My youngest boy is in. He lives just a half an hour from me. And he works. He's my kid that doesn't was not very academic. He works for Tesla actually. He's a four-person technician for Tesla. But yeah, I have three kids. He's 26 now.
Okay.
I'm divorced. Been divorced for a while, so I moved out here after my divorce.
How much time have your kids gotten to spend in Hawaii?
Not much. When we were married, we took them there when they were little. Um, I remember going there when my parents were still alive, so they saw them. And my youngest must have been, geez, 8 or 9, maybe 10. So they were pretty young. And then what year was that? 2015, we were all there. Um, but my wife and I don't know, we were still together. But yeah, so they were there in 2015. Then my mom passed in 2016, and they didn't go back with me for the services. But they were all busy with college and whatnot.
Mm.
But my older, no, actually, my youngest boy just came back from Kauai, I think. Can't remember. They've all gone there on their own since. Um, but other than that, no.
Yeah. So do you have any family left there, siblings or anything, or
No, I have a brother still. We're not very close, but he lives in my parents' house in Hawaii.
okay.
I need to go back and see him. I haven't seen him in years.
Is he older or younger than you?
He's younger. He's 3 years younger. He went to McKinley High School, where I probably would have gone if I didn't get into Kamehameha. I tried in seventh grade, didn't make it, and then I got in ninth grade.
Oh, no. So other than golf, do you travel very much recreationally or
No, I've been looking for somebody to travel with, but that hasn't worked out yet. When we were married, we didn't do much traveling. We actually shouldn't say that. We did quite a bit of traveling, but it was all for the kids' sports. All three of them played high level sports, so we had to travel the country with them. So that was our traveling. We never got a chance to really travel abroad.
yeah. Do you have a favorite section of the country from what you've seen?
No, I wouldn't say that. Um, I I would like to go to foreign countries to travel. It's, I mean, I've been to Florida and upstate New York and Tennessee and Arizona, Las Vegas, Nevada, obviously, been to Nevada. And but no, I really couldn't say that I have a favorite place I'd want to go. Now you're
Yeah.
in Michigan, right?
Minnesota.
Minnesota,
Yeah.
Minnesota. How do you handle that cold?
We definitely have our share, and when they get cold, they do it very well here. So,
Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah. And we get cold here, but not like that. We don't get cold enough to snow.
and then having talked to some classmates doing these sessions, a good handful of them have talked about trips they've made to Japan, and I think it's on my bucket list now because it sounds like a
Amazing.
great trip.
Amazing. Yeah, actually, one of the guys I play golf with from Hawaii, he and his wife went to Japan. He says, "You got to go. You have to go." I said, "Oh, that's on the bucket list."
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
that
just
sounds like a
sounds like,
great
and
trip.
I never realized, geography wasn't my strong suit, and
Me too.
when I hear how varied the topography or whatever you call it, mountains and stuff, and then oceans, you can be in one part of Japan and wake up in another part of Japan and not even realize it's the same place. It's so different.
Right,
You can
right.
get practically any kind of season you want or any kind of temperature you want or environment, whether you're seaside or up in the mountains or and the technology, I'm fascinated by their technology. They just seem to do things right, the right way.
Yeah, what I heard that in Japan, everybody, one of the first things they say is how clean it is. And they say people don't. litter. They carry you their garbage home with them. That's amazing.
Yeah, Mike Medeiros mentioned that. He said
Yeah.
it just almost amazingly clean,
Right.
you know. But
And then I
that's just a
guess,
mindset, I think,
yeah,
from
yeah,
early on, they just say it's important.
right,
So
right.
everybody does it. And so I
Yeah,
want to get there. I'd like to get to other parts of Asia, I guess, from things I see, but Japan, for some reason, seems to kind of top my list, at least at the moment, anyway.
yeah, mine too. I mean, that's Asia. I'd like to get to Europe. It's some areas of Europe anyway. Uh, Italy, Spain.
Spain's one
Yeah, some of
I've
the
heard good things about.
yeah, some of the islands I'd love to go visit. Can't remember what the islands I'm thinking about now, but yeah, I mean, it's just I'm not one to travel by myself. It's kind of
Yeah, well, not
yeah,
as much fun. So, I mean,
right. So I mean, that I'll see. I mean, I just retired, so and I'm not fully retired yet. I'm not quite ready to jump on a plane or a boat or do that yet. But
yeah, and be gone for, 3 weeks or whatever you'd like to, as opposed to
right,
what you can.
right. And yes, yeah, I haven't taken a vacation longer than 5 days since I don't remember. Because having had my own business since '96, it's hard to take long vacations, especially when you're
Yeah,
writing the checks.
yeah, because you sit there and not really have a vacation because your mind's back at work.
Right, right. And even when I'm traveling, it's like, you're on your phone now. In this world, it's hard. But I'm starting to enjoy not having to go into the office. Are you retired?
Semi, I drive a school bus,
Okay,
and then in my free time, I drive our where I live, it's only 10,000 population, so it's small.
okay. Small like us, yeah.
And rather than a city bus system, they run like those little airport shuttle type vehicles around.
Hmm.
So I drive that when I'm not in a school bus, especially too when there's no school, I don't work. So
Uh,
all the school breaks, I usually jump and go drive transit for that. So I don't want to work 40 hours, but I don't know if I really want to stop working.
hmm.
Because, like
Yeah, well,
summer, if I wanted to, I could take the whole summer off.
uh-huh.
Because I work when I choose for the transit. I don't have a schedule I got to meet or anything like that. So
So
the
like a
beginning
contract
of,
worker.
well, no, I'm on their payroll, but
Oh,
when I came on, they didn't have any set shifts. So they said, well, here's what we have in the next month that's open. Tell us which ones you want. And so I just sit there and go to my calendar. I'll do this one, I'll do that one. And it's just stayed that way. I've been with them 4 years now. And, you know, because I kind of serve a purpose for them.
hmm.
I'm taking all these things that they can't fill.
Right, right,
So they they like how I do it and I like how I do it. So
right, right.
and I think if I were completely retired, I'd drive my wife to the point where she'd probably murder me in my sleep. So
How long you been married?
since 96, so we're at about 29 years. So
Wow. I was married 28 years.
okay.
Yeah.
And so I've got four step kids and nine grandchildren and two great grandchildren.
Wow.
My oldest grandson just turned 29. He's got a little girl that's about 2, and then he just had a son born on April 15th. So
Jeez. Your grandson's older than my youngest boy. I don't have grandkids yet. I tell him, hey, when you can start. I'm gonna be too old to run around with them.
Yeah. I mean, and it goes so fast.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
youngest is 17, so they don't cuddle as much when they're 17.
They don't talk to you as much either.
Yeah, absolutely, because they have all the answers and I don't. So
Well, yeah,
why talk to grandpa? No, I've got a great relationship with all of them. So
that's great.
I'm the one that used to take them to 7-Eleven in Hawaii when they were little and blow money on junk food and slushies. And, my wife, my daughter still won't let me forget the fact that she had strict instructions to the kids when they were little, no slushy, too much sugar. So I'd go, we'd have the slushy, then I'd make sure I cleaned their mouths up real good so there was no evidence of the slushy. But I'd always get busted because mom would have them open their mouth and their tongue would be red or blue or
Blue. Yep.
grandpa got busted.
You're
Yeah.
lucky. Man, I wish I had grandkids, especially now that I'll have much more time.
Well, you never know. Let's see, your daughter is married. Is she the only one married of the three?
She's the only one married. My oldest
Okay.
boy, he almost got married and that you know, kind of blew up. So starting all over again. I mean, it's tough. He's been with his girlfriend now for a little over a year, I think.
Okay.
And my youngest boy, probably, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets married sooner because he's been with his girlfriend. He's going on over 2 years now. I think they're just waiting for her to finish her master's in education, and they may move down back to Southern California where she's from. She's from Orange County. So if he does that, I may decide to move too, because if all my kids are gone from this area, I may have to think of where I might move to.
Yeah. And we're starting to begin to think that way because we kind of came up following my middle daughter and her kids.
Hmm.
And then now at 17, 23, and 26, her kids are going in different directions. Already I can feel it when we have holidays,
Hmm.
you know, two or three aren't with us because they're with the
Right,
other half's family or whatever. It's like,
right,
wait a
right,
minute.
right. That's already happening with me. I mean, this past Christmas, I only had my youngest boy and his girlfriend because the other two were, like you said, with their other halves. So it's so I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I may not stay here.
The empty nest plan.
Yeah, I don't see them all that much anyway because they're so darn busy and they're not really that close. But it's just if you see them twice a year and it gets down to only once a year, you start to wonder. Maybe I'll have to move closer to at least one of them. I probably won't move north because I don't like the weather up there. You
Yeah,
you lived in Oregon, didn't you get um you get just kind of depressed with all that cloudiness?
yeah. It was wild. When I went to Willamette my first year, and when we got off the plane, honest to God, it rained nonstop for about 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Not like rain Monday, Tuesday, and then Friday
Hmm.
again. It was like it came down. We'd wake up in the midnight, still raining. I
Uh,
mean, that almost got me back on a plane to Hawaii.
yeah. I mean, that's to me, that's just depressing. I don't like that. I need to have the
Yeah.
sun.
But Oregon is a very pretty state, and I
It
think a
is.
lot of what I saw, other than the weather, was kept me there
Uh-huh. Yeah.
because I ended up going to University of Oregon the second year
Good
because I
school.
kind of ran out of money, so I went to state school, so the tuition was cheaper.
Uh-huh.
and
Uh-huh.
then got in a practicum program where they started paying me. And then I kind of went, oh, well, I mean, a job was what I went to college for, and I have one now. So after about 2.5 years, I stopped and just, uh, I learn better with on the job training than I do in a classroom type setting.
Uh-huh.
So,
That's my youngest boy. He's just like that. He's good with his hands. He's just doesn't like sitting in a classroom and studying.
yeah. And I just have a hard time absorbing that way.
Hmm.
If I can't take it apart on the table right in front of me, uh, it's even when I read instructions now, I'll have the instructions there as a plan C, but for the most part, I'll open the box and, start looking at the picture and going
Right,
from there. So
right, right. No, some people are just don't like school. I mean, I understand that.
our oldest granddaughter is 23 and she's a welder.
So how? That's great. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
like I said, I mean, my youngest boy is just good with his hands, so go with it. Yeah.
And the running joke is since she's had that job, she's the only female in about, I don't know, 30, 35 guys welding. And the joke is that her street vocabulary has gotten a lot better since she's been working there.
So she has an easier time separating work talk and outside work talk.
But we can tell every once in a while she'll slip at the dinner table or, just you'll be out and about with her and whoa, what was that? Where'd you get that? That'll work.
Sounds like my daughter, actually. She can be like that. My daughter's a tomboy. She's grew up. It's amazing. I never thought she was going to get married. She surprised me. She was the first. But I thought guys were scared of her.
What sports did your kids play?
Growing up, they played baseball. My daughter played softball and soccer, and they all ended up in soccer. My oldest son got recruited at UC Davis in the soccer team,
Well, all right.
and my daughter played. He got recruited, but he didn't like it. He didn't like it. Basically, it's 24-hour job, and then you have to do school too. But my daughter played for 4 years at UC San Diego, and my youngest boy is probably the best athlete in my family, and he played soccer at a JC in South Lake Tahoe for 1 year. Then he quit school, so obviously he didn't play. But he probably could have made it very far. In fact, he played soccer for the youth academy team for the San Jose Earthquakes, the professional team. They have a academy team and my youngest boy played for 2 years for their academy team.
Wow.
Yeah, they're good soccer players. Of course, I wanted them to play football, and so did the football coaches at the high school, but my wife wouldn't let them do that. She wouldn't let them play football.
Yeah. And you said they started with it. Uh, did any of them have a real strong interest in baseball slash softball?
Well, they did while they played. As I mentioned, that we traveled the country, especially with my youngest boy. He played on a team that won all kinds of championships in Tennessee and Florida at the Epcot Center, in New Mexico and Phoenix, Southern California. Someone told us that we had traveled that one summer 26,000 miles with that baseball team. Um, but
And
once
at
they
what
reached
age level is he playing?
between 10 and 12,
Yeah.
once they all reached high school, they kind of had to choose, because the outside leagues or their outside teams were, kind of conflicting with high school, and they basically all chose soccer, which I was kind of bummed about because I love baseball and softball. And my daughter was a left-handed pitcher, but no, they all chose soccer.
Mhm. Does your daughter bat left-handed too?
She bats right-handed. She throws
Okay.
left, bats right, um, and she golfs right. My all my kids golf, with my youngest being the best.
Huh.
You know, they all grew up in the Tiger age. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
golf has a lot more popularity than it did in the past.
yeah. Well, I love golf so much that that's the only way I could get out there was to bring the kids.
When you played at Kamehameha, what was your favorite position in baseball? What did you play?
I pitched a bit, played center field mainly. Um, I don't know if I was a favorite. Um, I played center field mainly. When I played outside, I played shortstop, second base, and center field, and I pitched. But at Kamehameha, I only played baseball 2 years, not even 2 years. Played freshman and part of JV, I think, year. Um, Football, I gave that up our senior year because me and Cal Chai did not get along.
Oh,
No, we didn't get along. So, but I love football. Football was my sport. Um, I love playing football. But then I
now
must
are
see,
you right-handed?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Are either of your boys left-handed in anything?
Nope. It's my daughter.
And I don't know the science or the how the biometrics or whatever you'd call it, but to throw left-handed but golf right-handed seems counterintuitive, kind of.
It is. It is. You would think, but what I've learned since I had a left-handed daughter that a lot of left-handers are ambidextrous. A lot of them will do that, throw left, bat right, um, or vice versa. In fact, the guy I play golf with from Hawaii, he's a lefty, and he swings left-handed, but he putts right-handed. Um, yeah, it's kind
Oh,
of interesting. That's I guess whatever makes them feel comfortable. I mean, I certainly
sure.
can't hit the ball left-handed. It feels too awkward.
Yeah, it's got to be just a brain connection of some kind because,
Yeah, and I've always wondered how does one become born left-handed? I don't know how that all works. Then nobody in my family's left-handed but my daughter. So it's interesting.
and I know it's just a matter of sometimes I've even seen some parents where they'll, at toddler age or whatever, they start picking up utensils and they'll try and steer them toward the right, like creating a right-handed person.
Right. Well, I heard that in the old days, back maybe before our parents, that's what they used to do because left-handed people, I guess, were not very common and they were looked down on. So I think that's true.
Yeah, because I know there are devices out there that have to be changed over for left-handers, scissors and different things like that. So,
Right. Right. The guitar, ukulele.
yeah,
To change the strings around.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Dwayne Owl
Oh, Dwayne
made
now.
he made a koi ukulele that he we're gonna raffle off at the
Wow, he made
last night.
one.
Really nice piece.
Well, out of Koa, Koa's got to be hard to work with.
I don't know. He said it comes in a kit, but still, I
Oh,
mean, yeah, he's not free forming it from a tree he cut down, but
that's what I was thinking in my head because
yeah.
I've tried to work with hardwood and it's hard. I mean, it's difficult to work with
Well,
hardwood like
especially to
that.
form it. I
Yeah,
just can't even begin to imagine. You
No,
probably
I
have to
can.
steam it or somehow soften it up
I
or
don't know. I almost think you need some kind of machine to help you with that because that's, yeah, it's amazing.
yeah. But it's a
Yeah.
pretty instrument. The grain came out real nice and
He made it. Wow.
yeah.
Is that his hobby, or does he do that for a
He
living?
no no, he's taken it up since he retired, so
Huh?
but he actually has a tutor or he calls it sensei, but somebody who directs him and guides him and shows him how and
That's great.
all the little fine points, the ins and outs, and
Right.
so that's kind of a neat thing. And apparently, the class is trying to reach a $50,000 spot on the scholarship fund because we have a classmate name undisclosed who's going to match the 50,000 if we make it. So
Whoa. Oh, we
yeah,
got rich
so
classmates.
but apparently Dwayne says we're not too far off. We're I don't know within 13 grand maybe or
Oh,
11
wow.
grand something like that. So we're really putting a big push on it. They're
Uh-huh.
building so much of this reunion around the
That scholarship.
fundraising part of it. Yeah, because
Yeah, I
it's
wish I would. I was make Actually, I had originally planned to come last year. I was thinking of coming. I can't remember. Jeff Noah, I think, um, emailed me last year sometime, asked if I was planning to go, and I said, yeah, I think so. But then this all came up, and like, well, it's all the same week and too hard.
tough.
Golf. It's just I had people coming over to stay with me, so that made it kind of tough. If it was just me, it would have been easy to just cancel, but
Yeah.
didn't want to let them down.
Well, you'll have to make plans though, because who knows how many of these we'll have left.
Yeah. Well, I mean, 50 is the big one. And, I always had in my mind that I was going to be there. And my kids actually said, if you go back for the 50, your reunion, we'll go with you. And I said, okay. So we talked about it, but this was all months and months ago. Um,
Yeah.
you know, things happen, plans change.
We work around best we can.
Yeah, we do. We do. And now I have much more time. It just feels much easier to kind of move things around if I have to.
You know what I can say you can look forward to is when you get grandkids and they get to the age where they start participating in events.
Hmm.
It's really exciting to do it the second time through.
Hmm.
And you can look back and go, no, I know how to do that better this time. So
So I'm gonna have to make all the mistakes yet.
working through your first time to
Yep. Yeah, I can't wait. I'm just like, come on, guys. I want a grandchild. Although I'm gonna have to be fighting for FaceTime with my ex. I'm sure.
uh, did she stay in California?
So yeah, she's remarried. And she stayed in California. She's from here. So I mean we met there when she was on an externship working there. Actually, I think we met in like September of 87, and she was already planning to move back in early 88. And so I kind of just followed her here, and then we got married.
Good.
Actually,
So,
when I moved back after law school, I realized that Hawaii felt small.
well, it does. One thing I picked up after moving to the mainland is my love of, I don't know if I want to call it long distance travel, but just the ability, if you want to.
Right. No, that's exactly right. It's not like I travel all that much, but But if something comes up and you want to take a trip to LA, it's a 6 hour drive. Just go. You can't do that in Hawaii or
Yeah.
drive up to Oregon, which is not very much further.
I like to retell the story. There was when we went to Willamette that first year, there was like 11 or 13 of us from Kamehameha. So it was an easy time because I was left homesick. But
Hmm.
three of us, I want to say Doug Duvichel, myself, maybe Mike Crabb. Anyway, some Howley boys asked us if we wanted to go to Portland. We were in Salem, Oregon, and that's 60, 70 miles. So we said, well, how long is that going to take? He goes, I don't know, hour 20. So we went back to our rooms and immediately started packing overnight bags. And when we showed up at the car, they were just cracking up laughing. What are you guys doing? Well, we're driving for over an hour, from town to North Shore, 45 minutes. That
Yeah,
feels like
yeah,
forever, So this hour 20 sounded like, oh my gosh.
yeah. Much different.
Yeah,
You can drive 70 miles an hour versus 45 or whatever we were driving back then.
yeah. And then I lived for a number of years in Texas, and part of one of my jobs was a weekly delivery that we made from San Antonio to Odessa. And that's about 10 and a half hours.
Well, that's a drive.
Yeah.
That's a drive.
Because
But I
I
mean,
could,
you live on the mainland now. It's like, you're used to it.
yeah, I mean, you think in terms of when it gets to be double digit hours traveling time, then you consider it, but you don't like, shut down the plan immediately,
Yeah. You just plan to stay overnight somewhere.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, that's the thing is just the having the capability and you want to have that availability to you. Yeah, that which you don't in Hawaii.
yeah.
You drive off and sandy beach.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
all relative, I think.
it is. The only thing I can say about Hawaii, I miss the beaches and I miss the food. Um, I really miss the food.
Do you have any nearby access to local food where you
There's a
live?
Hawaiian food place down the street, but it's okay. It's not great. There's one better in Concord that actually has a good curry stew. I haven't found any place that has curry stew up here. But that place is pretty good. Um, they all have the katsu down pretty good, but other than that, everything is kind of It's all
Yeah.
right. It's not the same. Not the
And
same.
there's a Korean place, can't remember the name, but I remember it receiving the number one eatery reward from Yelp or something like in the nation. And they serve, meat Jun. The guy's from Hawaii,
Hmm.
and he serves meat Jun and all the Korean favorites and stuff. But I thought that's kind of prestigious to make that list and to win it. So
Yeah, it is. A
I've
Korean,
got it.
especially Korean.
Yeah, so I've got it in my phone address book. If I ever get to Los Angeles in the near future, I got to remember to at least stop. So
That's in Los Angeles. That's pretty good for Hawaii. Maybe that's why he's from Hawaii, so he can kind of tweak things and make it a little different.
yeah,
It's not your, I guess maybe it's not your traditional Korean food, then he has some kind of secret ingredient to put in there.
well, I had a real surprise in store when I got to the mainland and asked for meat June and discovered that that's a Hawaii dish.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, they
Huh.
make fish June and something else, but meat June,
I did not
that's
know
not
that.
it's
Hmm.
not originally Korean. So
Interesting.
yeah. And
Interesting.
last night I discovered the Filipino noodle dish, or I always thought Filipino pancit. That's
I mean,
Chinese.
I don't even know
So
what it is.
yeah, it's noodles and vegetables, meat,
Huh,
typical noodle type style. But yeah,
huh,
whenever I heard about it, I would think Filipino, but it's Chinese. I was
Chinese.
stunned to find out how many Chinese live in the Philippines.
Really? I don't know. I've never been there.
Yeah,
I don't know if I really have any desire to go to the Philippines, but I mean, I didn't realize that either.
yeah.
You're
So
Chinese,
yeah, half Chinese.
Chinese, Hawaiian. I got only 3/8 Chinese. Mom's
How
side
much
Chinese,
Japanese do you actually have?
half Japanese, 3/8 Chinese, 1/8 Hawaiian.
Okay.
But yeah, my mom's side is all the Chinese side. Chun, Chun. My grandmother was Chun. Boy,
And in my life, I've also discovered that like all those names in Hawaii, like the Chinese names, they're actually incorrect and backwards.
there.
Be-
I heard there are a lot of them made up. My
Yeah, because
my
somebody said
grandfather's
when,
name is a Sam, and then the two cousins that went to Kamehameha were Assams. My two cousins, but according to my mom, that was kind of made up because when my grandfather, or I don't know if it was maybe great, but in the plantations or something when he was working, the bosses called him A Sam, and that's how the name stuck. It's like, come on, man, that doesn't that's it's stupid.
hey,
But
very possible though,
yeah, I mean that's his last name, or was it? I mean, yeah, I mean that's I heard it's made up, or maybe like you said, they said backwards, or interesting.
because what I read is when they would be asked their name, it was customary for like if you asked me and I was Chinese, what's your name? I would say Brown Kermit. So the guy
Oh,
was writing it down like that. So a lot of the Chuns, that Chun was
that's a lot.
their ancestors' first name.
First name.
Like
Interesting.
Chun Wa Kam
Hmm.
and like that. So it's
That's interesting. I know
so
a lot of
then
the Korean names, they say their last name first. Um, I noticed that on golf, that's why. Because the golf people always say their names with their last name at the end, but when you talk to the Koreans, that they say their last names first. So it's interesting.
and if you're used to hearing it first then last and you're writing it down that way and
Yeah, yeah.
then it
You can
becomes documented and you're stuck.
all of a sudden it's legal. It's your legal name. I know.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Man, this has been great, though, catching up and hearing what's been going on. And
That is,
kind of
this is
sad
great.
that you're not making the reunion, but it is what it is.
Yeah, yeah. You know how many people are going to be there this year?
I'm not sure. I know the class night they're at maybe 180-ish, 190-ish.
That's half the class.
Yeah, for class night, and they're not, obviously not done registering. And
Right.
if we're anything like we have been, a lot of last minute stragglers waiting for the
Sure.
11th hour to do the paperwork.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we're humans. We're kind of a nature of procrastinating.
Yeah.
No, I know.
So, but some of us do it better than others. So,
Yeah, well, I'm guilty of it too.
yeah.
Yep. No, well, I appreciate you doing this because it's kind of been kind of fun. Just learning about other classmates that I didn't know anything about. I mean, most of the classmates you've had sessions with, I know. But I was surprised to hear, like a lot of them start in the ninth grade, which is like, really? I thought you were starting from kindergarten. That's like, yeah, I thought they were, always there. Like Philip Swain, I think was also ninth grade. It's like, really? So I
Yeah.
mean that's yeah, big things, different.
Well, stay tuned because I've got a good handful next week scheduled, and today I'm going to end up having recorded six of them. So
Oh my. Oh, I'm taking up too much of your time then.
I started with Grayling Achu, Rhonda Hainish this morning. I'm talking to you, Charles Keoho,
Charlie.
Greg Friel. I don't know if you remember
Oh,
Greg
yeah.
Friel,
I remember Greg.
and Lupo
Who?
Kameheiwa when we were in high school. Lupo Kameheiwa.
Lupo.
Yeah,
The name sounds familiar. First name sounds familiar.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
I can't
so,
put a face to it.
yeah,
But all the others you mentioned, I mean, I saw Rhonda at the 60th birthday reunion. So that was nice seeing Rhonda there. Yeah, so I mean I was, it's kind of nice just learning about classmates.
good. Well, I'm going to see as many as I can put out. And in talking to Kevin Garcia earlier, I think I'm going to just run this thing beyond reunion.
That'd be great. That'd be great. I
And,
mean,
you
if
know,
people that didn't go, and I mean, I've lost contact with people I was pretty close with in high school. Paul Lacerdo, Landy Kamua, um, who else? God, I can't remember what his name is now. I think he passed away anyway. Mark Furtado,
okay.
all those guys.
Mark was last in Vegas, from what I heard. And Landy had some kind of health crisis well over a decade ago. I don't know exactly what it was, but it's some kind of physical condition. So
Oh,
where,
I
his movement's limited. And Paul, I think, is back in Hawaii also. So,
yeah, that just all
so
those names come back. Who I haven't thought of for years.
yeah. Well, good, good. Good luck with your golf tournament.
Thank you, Kermit. Thank you. Thank you for doing this again.
You bet. And we
Great,
will talk to you later on down the road.
great talking to you. All righty. Take care. Say hi to
Aloha.
everyone.
We'll do.